Welcome to the Kind of Nerdy Girls podcast. Fandom, fun, funny.
Ping, ping, poo, 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 poo. Welcome to Kind of Nerdy Girls podcast. We're a bunch of kind of nerdy girls. Sometimes a dude pops in here, but we don't need him. We're going to get started without him. Woo, woo, woo. Our fun fact today is your favorite food combination that other people think is disgusting. Boopy doo, boop, 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 boop. She'll be giving us a gaming update in moments, but first she's going to tell us her disgusting food combination. Boop, 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 boop. It's Gamer Katie.
So I have two. One is like meh, strawberries with Parmesan cheese.
That's just kind of weird.
Sweet and savory.
Okay.
All right. Follow along here.
All right. I
But
like
my
both
favorite-
of those things.
Every time I bring it up, it's for some reason controversial. Donut burgers.
I've
Right?
never
Like,
had
we're-
a donut burger. I've seen it before, and I'm trying to like wrap my head around like what that would taste like.
So I have it at the State Fair every year. It's delicious. It's
Okay.
donuts.
Is it
with
then also
burger
deep
con-
fried because it's at the
No,
state
it's
fair?
not.
Okay.
But there's like the contents of a burger, and then instead of the bun, it's like two regular Krispy Kreme donuts, right?
Okay.
So it's that mix of sweet and savory, right? So like you bite into the burger, it's very hearty, regular burger taste, right? And then you get a little bit of sweet from the bun.
Oh,
I'm really good.
I'm not opposed to it. It's just like burgers are kind of it's messy enough, and then I'm trying to understand like my hands around the Krispy Kreme donut. It just seems like a really, really messy thing to be doing while you're
Well, you
walking
could be a
around.
weirdo and like cut it, but who does
Are you-
that?
Who goes to the state fair and then sits down and eats their food with a fork and knife?
Exactly.
You
That's
don't,
fair.
but yeah, but then you're gonna have sticky hands, like
Lick your
everywhere.
fingers off. You'll be fine.
Oh gosh, this is pandemic life. We don't lick our fingers. Katie. Come on. All right, woo, woo, woo! Wow, wow, wow! She's back. Wow, I'm always gonna do that. Like it's gonna be like
Wow.
800 episodes in. Wow, wow, she's back from Geek Vibes Nation. It's Tia. Woo! Wow.
I was like literally trying to rack my head to be like, what do I like eating that maybe others would think is disgusting? My mom personally thinks it's gross that I put mayo on like my salami and cheese sandwich. She's like, you don't put mustard? And I was like, I don't know. I like mayo on it, but I don't think that's that gross. I guess the only thing that I can say, and I think like KJ, you don't like it. I know definitely my boyfriend thinks it's gross, but I love kimchi. So I can put that. I know.
It hurts. I just threw up a little bit in my mouth.
Every time I have it in the house and I like open it up and my boyfriend walks into the kitchen, he's like, really, you had to bring that home? And I'm just like, I love it. I love it so much. Put it on rice.
It is nice
put
to
it
know
on
that
everything.
you have the power that when you don't want him around, you can just open up some kimchi. And it's like a natural boyfriend deterrent.
Yeah, exactly.
From the Kind of Nerdy Dudes, it's producer Patches. We're talking about food combinations that we like that other people think are disgusting
Yeah, see,
or weird.
I'm one of those guys. Like, say, I've done it ever since I was a kid. Like, mom would make like homemade beef and noodles and like mashed potatoes and corn and all that stuff. I'm the guy that would just slop it all together, so it just looks like one giant. It's just all one giant mush right there. And I've done that in front of people, and they just they've never said anything, but I get that weird look. Like,
wait, like mashed potatoes and the noodles together?
Yeah, like the mashed potatoes, the noodles, the corn, the beef, like all together. Yeah.
Is that a weird thing to you, Tia? Having
because I don't
mashed potatoes?
You know what it is like I'm not like a mixer when it comes to my food. Like if it's on, like I'm not that OCD where it's like I can't have things touching each other, but it's like I eat in like order. So it's like the noodles.
You're a compartmental leader.
Then... Yeah, exactly.
You eat around the clock.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the idea of just like all of it together is just like, why?
I have certain things I'm like that. Like if I have bacon and pancakes, I get real stressed if the syrup touches my bacon. I don't want that.
Maple bacon and
I don't like that.
Yeah, I do like that. I do like that. I gotta
And
say.
if I have cottage cheese and I like have like fruit or something of it, like nothing can touch the cottage cheese. It gets contaminated.
Oh my
But
god, you
I
should
do.
see her at Steak and Shake sometime. I swear to you, because they put a slice of pineapple on top of their cottage cheese. You want to see her lose her
Oh.
shit?
Listen,
That's where you're gonna see it.
I'm always very specific. And you know, if I'm at Steak and Shake, if you're in Indiana, you know, if you're at Steak and Shake, you're drunk. So when drunk KJ gets her cottage cheese, which she specifically said, I don't want it on a piece of lettuce and I don't want a pineapple on top of it. I just want cottage cheese. Like, why can't you just bring it says cottage cheese on the menu. Why is there lettuce and pineapple on my? I didn't ask for cottage cheese with lettuce and pineapple. Yeah, I get real angry.
They figured that if you're like intoxicated, you need some sort of like
There's
green on it.
Yes, and
Little
your
fruit.
pineapple is full of vitamin C. This should help you with your
Yeah.
hangover.
Exactly. They're being nice.
My combination that absolutely drives Patches crazy is any combination that involves green olives on pizza.
Ugh.
I love green olives on pizza. It's just like pizza is so good and salty, and then you add the salty goodness.
Pizza is salty. I'm sorry, what?
I mean, it is like with the cheese and the sausage.
That's not salty.
Yeah, there's like sausage and pepperoni, and like you get all the good stuff, and then you
all the
just
sodium
add,
and all that stuff. Yeah.
yeah,
But if
there's
you don't put-
sodium and all that stuff.
But like pure pizza, like without all that stuff, isn't necessarily like salty.
Well, no,
So,
but
you
it's like the
Yeah,
meat
like a cheese
and
pizza is not salty.
well, no, but you add the meat, and there's sodium in your tomato sauce, honey.
There's
yeah,
sodium
there
in
is.
everything.
Yes,
You-
right.
you don't-
That's
Are you
what
put
so
pineapples
sensitive
on
you can
pizza?
taste it?
yeah.
You don't put
D-
pineapples on pizza, do you?
Oh hell no,
I do.
that's
Uh.
absurd. That's absurd.
I do. I'm just picky
Yeah.
about it. I like the pineapple to go on after the pizza is cooked because I don't like warm pineapple.
Yeah, that's
So,
weird.
so you'll literally just like chop up pineapple and put it on top of a pizza when
it's pretty good.
when it
Are you
gets
the-
delivered to you.
That's what I was
Hawaiian
going to
pizza
ask.
is good, people.
But
Says
if you,
who?
but
Says me.
you're getting it delivered. Do they keep the pineapple on the side chilled for you when
No,
they
if
deliver
you buy it, they cook it.
Right.
So I don't really buy Hawaiian pizza, but I do like Hawaiian pizza.
Well, last night we got, after the kind of nerdy night in, we got hot box pizza. It's an Indiana favorite. And I got my green olives on my side of the pizza. But I tell you, like, Patches will be like, if there's like even like a sliver of green olive on his side of the pizza, he will not eat that piece. It's like ruined for him. And I was like, I don't have to get green olives. I just like them. And, no, it's fine. You can get green olives. And then we get the pizza and he's like, oh, there's a green olive on this piece.
I would do that too. I understand.
All right. Well, that's our show. Now you know a little bit about the gross things that we eat. We're going to be talking about gaming. We are going to be talking about well, you know what? I'm just going to do this because I'm pretty excited about it. We're going to kick things off with a Chris Evans update. Wah, 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 wah. It's time for a Chris Evans update. Wah, 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 wah. Katie, I have a mission for you.
Oh, here we go. Homework.
This is going to be the thing that gets us the love of Chris Evans.
Or blocked.
Maybe. Maybe. One of Chris Evans' recent tweets.
Mhm.
I used to have a game on an old iPad called Witch's Brew. It is a very addictive multiplayer matching game. Now I can't find it anywhere. Anyone know where I should be looking?
Mm.
Katie.
Mm.
This is our moment. And also, like, as you know, the weird girl who's like got a meditation room that I'm basically making potions for cats at this point. I'm like, Chris Evans likes a game called Witch's Brew. Like, he likes witches? Probably not. But it made me super happy that if he was going to love a game so much that he wanted it to come back, that it's a game about Witch's Brew. So, Katie, I mean, you don't have to like deep dive right now. But if at any moment the kind of nerdy girls could solve this this issue that Chris Evans is having.
Well, that game came out in like 2011, so it's probably been taken off the App Store.
Well, I mean, he said old iPad.
Yeah.
So.
Coming soon for iPhone, iPad, and Android. Yeah, it's old. But I found it.
Yeah, but can you like buy it? Can you play it?
It existed on the iPad too. It probably doesn't even work with the operating system anymore.
Okay. Quickly, I still have an iPad too.
Oh, okay. He's gonna just like freaking download and like send the iPad to like
Right?
Chris Evans.
That won't be weird at all. Mr.
Not at
Evans,
all.
I figured out how you can play Witch's Brew. I just need your address.
That'll go for well.
Yeah, that'll be fine. That'll be fine. All right, Katie, that's something that's your homework to work on figuring out how we can solve this problem for Chris Evans. He's asking for help. We are the people to help him. Honestly,
Me or me?
You and I will make sure that he knows that you are the reason.
You'll get
She's gonna take all the credit, but
You'll
you'll
get
get like
credit.
an honorable mention, is what she's saying.
When we send him the old iPad that is still somewhat functioning and has Witch's Brew on it, it will be courtesy of the Kind of Nerdy Girls. Special credit to Gamer Katie. I will do that for you.
Well, I mean, if he still has the same Apple iPod account or whatever, like his iCloud, he could log in and look at old purchases and probably re-download it.
He's a busy man, Katie. He doesn't have that type of time.
Katie, he needs us.
That's why
to solve.
KJ needs to do it.
Okay, Mr. Evans, I just need your login information for your Apple.
I'm telling him to go log in. I'm not doing it for him.
He doesn't have time. We need to.
Yeah. If you open up the App Store, there's a little button that says purchased, and you can look at all the games you've bought.
Katie, I need you to say this in a less condescending way. All right.
Listen here, idiot.
No, this is not helping.
Sorry. Hold on.
All right.
Use the voice.
For those that are unfamiliar using the App Store account, you can easily open up your old purchased applications. Just open up the App Store, and on the right corner, you can click the menu. Then you click purchased, and it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Your apps are all right there. That better?
That was much better.
Brilliant.
That's much better. He does need to do this on an old iPad, correct?
Imagine he could probably do it on his iPhone if they're all connected. You just hit it, and you click the menu, and then like your little account, and then you click purchased, and everything you've ever bought is right there.
Right. But if the thing hasn't been updated so that you can play it on the newest iPhone,
It is not on the App Store anymore. So if you were to click on it, it would probably say like, hey, you can't have this anymore. It's dead.
Okay. Well, then what does he do?
Nothing, because unless he contacts the makers and has them like put it back on the App Store, then nothing. It doesn't exist anymore.
So who were the makers? Because this is now this is where we get going.
Oh my God.
Now we get the campaign going. I told you. This is the thing that's going to show Chris Evans that we care about him as a human being.
Pixel Envision.
Pixel Envision. Okay.
Which they have a website.
Wonderful. All right.
You could reach out to them on his behalf.
Thank you. I will. How does that letter go, Katie?
Dear Pixel Envision, first of all, how dare you? Second of all, how dare you insult one of the greatest actors of all time by taking your stupid app off the App Store?
Wow.
That's harsh.
Yeah, well,
okay.
Get it back on or else. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Katie. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. This has been the Chris Evans update. Thank you guys so much for listening. We will keep you posted. This is a story we will continue to follow. If you have any suggestions on how to get Chris Evans the game Witch's Brew on an old iPad, please make sure that you contact us in our Facebook group, the Kind of Nerdy Network, where we can all solve this problem for Mr. Evans together. Whoa, okay. It's time for Binges and Books, 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 bitches and books, bitches that's binges and books. Tia. Hi, Tia.
It just always makes me giggle. I love your energy first thing in the morning.
It was to give you a little background, Tia. I was raised on a farm, so I was up every morning at 4:00 to feed the cats and the calves. And from there, I went into morning radio, and then I married a husband who has hated every second of me being up every day at 5 a.m. Short version.
I mean, to be fair, like my boyfriend has to wake up at like 3:00 in the morning to get to work. So it's like I'm getting used to it, but then I usually fall back asleep. So yeah. But whatchamacallit, I watched the first episode of the 4th season of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel that just came out yesterday. I absolutely adore that show. I don't know if any of you guys have watched it. It is so good.
So when does it? I watched like 3 episodes, and it was like I wasn't hating it, but I wasn't. You know how you just kind of like some shows, you're just like, I got to go back to that. I got to go back to that, and I was like, that's nice, but I didn't go back to it.
Okay.
So, is there a point in the first season like you got to get to this, and then you're just gonna eat it up, or
I mean, I would say if you weren't like hooked by the first episode, then I don't know if they're like, because for me personally, I was hooked the first episode, and then I just like binged it and everything. It's certainly just like a journey. I mean, it's all about the main character in the late 50s, early 60s, trying to make it in stand up in a incredibly male dominated field after a devastating reveal that her husband no longer wants to be with her and everything. And it's, to me, I just think it's funny. I think it's still fresh. We're on the 4th season now, and to me, I just don't feel like it's hit like any burnout or anything. It's interesting because in the past, every season of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel has dropped with every episode being available, but this season they are doing the weekly release, which in the past would have bothered me, but like I've been so busy that I'm like, I kind of appreciate that now. And it's been confirmed that the show will return for a 5th and final season. So I think 5 seasons are solid. And at least now they know that that's the end. So it's not like it's will be canceled and we'll have like loose ends and stuff. So I'm enjoying it a lot, and that's my binge.
Nice. I'm glad that we are in a space where storytellers kind of get to make that decision for, I mean, obviously shows get canceled sometimes, but if something goes for like 3 seasons, typically there's that decision now. There's like that, they have that foresight of, are we going to keep going with this? Like, is this a show that should keep going? Or is this a show that we say, you know what, we've got 2 more seasons in us and we shouldn't just drag it out? Like that, to me, it just makes things so much nicer as a fan. Even though you love it, you don't want it to end. It's nice that it ends in a time frame that you're expecting, and not with some like weird, like cliffhanger, awkward, you know, what, that was the end.
Because that happens to me with like virtually every show that I like. So it's nice to know that at least we have a end that is planned. Speaking of which, they did also then confirm that Stranger Things will end after season 5. So it's kind of, I didn't even expect Stranger Things to last to 5 seasons, because at this point the kids are going to be adults by the time we get to the 5th season. But at least they know that that's the end goal.
Katie, are you still watching Stranger Things?
I love Stranger Things, and I'm just sitting here for the volume 1 and 2 of season 4 that come out later this year. Yeah,
that's so interesting that they're splitting it up. It's like, what's up with this, Netflix?
They're doing the Twilight and the Harry Potter thing. They split up the last book into 2 films.
I do think there's a little more of that now, like they did that with Lucifer. And I think what they're doing is because we got, you know, when binging became a thing, everybody was dropping everything all at once. And now that, you know, especially with the pandemic, they can't keep up with producing this content that we're obsessed with for a week and then don't talk about anymore. You know, I mean, that's why they're doing a lot more shows, are doing what they're doing, where it's like it's going to come out a new episode once every week, is because they can't produce at the quality that we expect at that budget if they're going to have a month of people caring about it, and then it goes away because they dropped everything and we binged it. And now we're on to the next thing. So it kind of sucks, but I get it. If we want quality stuff, then we got to give them time to make it. Let's see. Is the second part or the first part of Stranger Things? Is that coming out in June or July? Have they given us a date?
Volume 2 is July. I remember
July.
that part. I want to say
Okay.
Volume 1 is May.
Okay.
So not that much of a wait. I mean,
No.
it's taken them a while to film this, obviously, due to like COVID and everything. I
Mhm.
mean, I'm excited. It's just like, okay, then we haven't even got season 4, and I'm like, okay, then what's gonna be season 5?
Yeah.
Again, like I don't know. These kids are literally not even gonna be kids anymore. Because then you
May
have to
27th.
Huh?
May 27th.
Oh,
Yeah.
Very nice. All right.
I can't
Fun.
wait.
Yay. Our binge over here in the KJ and Patches household has been Peacemaker, which we finished last night.
I still have to watch the final episode.
Okay.
It's so good.
Okay. Yeah, we're not gonna, then we won't give anything away, but there was a nice little surprise in Peacemaker that we were definitely not expecting. It's everything that you want. I mean, the writing and everything and the way that they wrap it up. It just was a little, there was a little extra in there that we were both like, did not see that coming. So that was fun. And they've already renewed for season 2. I'm really happy.
Are you guys excited for that?
Yeah, I'm happy for John Cena. I mean, obviously he's a stunning man, but from the very beginning, when I met Patches and I realized that if we were going to have a relationship, I was going to have to make some peace. Peacemaker from the beginning. I was going to have to make some peace with the wrestling world because he was so into it. And so there was a WWE event coming to Indiana, and I'm working in radio. So I'm like, do you want to go? Because I can get tickets. I've never gone. Like, we've interviewed the wrestlers, but I've never gone because I don't really care. But, I'm trying to impress this guy that I like. Like, hey, I can take you to WWE Raw. And it was right in the very beginning of John Cena kind of getting big. And so I was like, this is actually pretty cool. And if you've ever been to a WWE event, the entertainment value, like the way that they do everything,
the production itself,
production, like they put on a great show. Yeah. But after the fact, it was him and RIP Eddie Guerrero. They stayed after and they signed every autograph. Like, they just stayed out there and
they just kept walking back up the ramp and just hitting every single kid,
every fan
single
that they
fan.
can.
I mean,
it just
awesome.
stuck with me, and I was like, you know what? I like that guy. Like, both of them. I was like, those will be my wrestlers. And so, part of me is like, I liked John Cena before people really knew who he was, and now he's Peacemaker.
Well, John Cena, I'm sorry to interrupt. I was just going to say, John Cena just seems as if he's rising to the top of wrestlers that made it out of wrestling and got into acting. Because it's he seems like a really humble person. He seems very well-rounded, and I think he's a good actor. And I'm like, you're really impressing me, John Cena, for someone who I'm not overly into wrestling, but I knew the meme, you can't see me. So it's from going to a meme to actually being taken seriously is pretty amazing.
And he's a good person, so
yeah, exactly. He actually legitimately seems to be a good person. It's oh, how rare in Hollywood.
Yeah, having worked with him a few times, he really is he's genuinely what he does. I mean, just he always goes above and beyond for his fans.
Well, the Make-A-Wish stuff too, yeah.
He's granted more. I mean, more wishes than anybody in the history of Make-A-Wish, and that's the next closest person is 1,500 wishes.
Excuse me, Daddy. I don't mean to interrupt, but we're all having a moment because Melody is just reaching for you. Please, Daddy.
Crying. Daddy, help.
Please, Daddy. Please pay attention to me.
I
Oh
want
my
to be part of
gosh.
the podcast.
She's so ridiculous. She's just like, if you look up Precious, it's a picture of Melody. She's
Don't.
just
Aw.
too much.
Don't rap on the
But
keyboard.
yeah, I mean, John Cena is just working with him at cons and my time with Make-A-Wish. Both. I mean, he's just a stand-up guy, and the stuff he does with the military, like, I don't know how he sleeps. So I agree with you, Tia, to kind of see him rising out of that wrestler celebrity to kind of, yeah, I know, Patches, he's not to Rock status yet.
Nowhere
Okay.
close. Nowhere
Oh,
close.
listen. I'm gonna argue this, and this is my hot take and everything.
Okay.
John
Ooh,
C-
Tia's hot take.
John Cena and Dave Bautista are better actors than The Rock. The only
Oh.
reason why The Rock has any sort of standing is because he's like pretty much capitalized on the action genre. But as far as like actually being like a legitimately good actor, he doesn't compare to say John Cena or Dave Bautista. And I've thought this even when Dave Bautista came out, on like the emotions that Dave Bautista can exhibit, you know, the fact that he's getting into more serious roles. I've seen plenty of Rock movies, and yeah, they're entertaining, but he is a one-trick pony. They're all the same, and that's why I'm highly skeptical for the Black Adam movie, because it's like, oh, so it's just a Rock movie, but he's in costume. I'm sorry, it's every time. It's every time. Have you guys seen Skyscraper? That shit was
No.
Yeah.
laughable, laughable,
was.
and it's like, I'm sorry, he plays the same exact character every single time, and it's no disrespect, he seems like a good guy guy as well, so it's not any like knock on his personal life. Like, get the money where you can if that's where
You
your
want to
strengths
see
are.
some depth, right? Like, you
I want
want
to see some depth, so, you know, because it's just like at that point it's like, not for nothing, like, he's getting up there in age. At what point can he hold on to like all that like muscle, and at what point can he continue doing action films? Once he stops being able to do these action films, I mean, listen, he has like more money than any of us know what to do with, but I'm just saying.
I
mean, Rock's in his 50s and he's gotten bigger. So I mean,
I know, but it's like at some point,
that's what's
like
scary.
at some point, he's gonna have to stop
shocked
that.
Patches has not thrown anything at the screen
I'm
at this
sorry.
point. Like,
You know you made it when you're a Disney character a la Moana. So
this is the thing. I to give you perspective, Tia, on why I'm like laughing so hard and watching Patches sit very still. His love of The Rock is so strong. Like, I mean, it is like it's above and beyond our relationship.
Oh, I would leave you for The Rock in a heartbeat.
So much, Tia, that at the Super Bowl Sunday, I'm sitting on the couch, right? And it's like things are getting ready. It's getting closer to game time. And Patches goes to pee, okay? And The Rock comes on. There's like a moment where like the camera comes on and The Rock hasn't done his microphone thing yet. And I knew how important this would be for Patches that I literally screamed, "You need to get out here right now." And he thought something was wrong. But I was like, he cannot miss this moment, this live moment where The Rock is opening the Super Bowl. Like, this is his guy, right? I couldn't even like put words into it. Like, I couldn't say The Rock is on there. I was like, I literally screamed, "You need to get in here right now." He's like pulled his pants up and came running. And he said, "I've never cut off my pee that fast."
get in here. The commercials are over. Come on.
I'm gonna get a text in like a few days from KJ that says, like, you know what? We're good. It's been nice having you on.
You're gonna get a text from an unknown number. Watch out.
Yeah. F you, Tia. F you stupid F.
That's exactly what I'm gonna get.
You're like, how the hell is it? Oh.
Can you smell what The Rock's cooking?
Oh.
Yeah, be like, yeah, smell this.
Oh. What does The Rock say when he's like talking down his enemies? "Oh, my enemies. Oh, Tia, you're one of The Rock's enemies. My enemies."
The fact that you guys watched the Tinder Swindler made me so happy.
So good.
Oh yeah, I guess we should go into that. That is not
10:30K.
something I would never watch. The Tinder Swindler if I saw it come up on Netflix. But you guys, between the last episode and then the texts and the memes that were going on, I'm like, I gotta know who these guys.
It was so good.
I gotta know about this guy's enemies.
It's like the Fire Festival of dating, okay?
Yes, yeah. Peter is down. Send 30,000, please.
My enemies are after me, and apparently I can't access my bank account, and they won't cut me a check even though they closed my account. So I need you to bring $30,000 on a flight in person to bring it to me. Also, thanks.
Patches is gonna send a text going, I was emotionally hurt by Tia and her comments on The Rock. Send 50K.
Here's my question. Who on this planet sends that many voice texts?
Oh my God.
Like, text like a normal person. Jeez.
I didn't understand either. I'm like, what in the heck? You know, and I live in WhatsApp. So I was like, oh, yeah, WhatsApp. Like, WhatsApp's so much easier. But I never send voice messages. And it was like, I'm like, what is happening? Like,
my mom does. She sends voice messages all the time. And I think Katie was like, are you sure she's not a Tinder swindler?
Well, watch out, because she could be swindled, because he's still out there.
Yes. Wait, so we're talking about, did Patches watch the Tinder swindler?
I did not.
Oh, man.
There's your homework.
He has not watched
Your
it yet. So
Got
every
enemies.
time I say something about my enemies, he doesn't find it nearly as funny.
I can't.
I gotta say, though, he must be good at it, because keeping that many women in line has got to be difficult.
Exhausting.
Right?
That many, and like to juggle everything and like just make it feel like all of them, I think, felt like he was giving them his attention and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, this man
Think
must
about how
have
many
been on
texts that is.
he must have been like on the phone just like 24/7.
24/7.
Yeah.
24/7.
And essentially, Patches, he was like swindling enough women that he was like taking money from one so that he could pay to be doing something with someone else, while he was looking ahead to what he was going to take from her so that he could do the next extravagant thing with this one, and then come back around to like get the loan from this. I mean, it was exhausting.
And it was like legitimately him texting these women going like, my enemies are after me. I cannot access my like checking account. Can you please send like $50,000?
So he says he's like the Prince of Diamonds from this big diamond family, and that guy has no idea who he is.
I love that he photoshopped himself into the family
and
vacation.
like, if you look at the picture, you're like, oh yeah, that's photoshopped, definitely. But no one questioned it, you know?
No, nobody ever questioned it. It was just.
And then like he brought his kid along to some scams, and it gets
he has
all
a kid
crazy.
too?
Yeah, apparently.
Patches,
Allegedly.
The
Yeah,
girl, okay. So the first girl that you meet in this thing, it's on Netflix, right?
Mhm.
First girl that you meet in this thing, the first time, so like they're like, Tinder connection, right?
It's their meetup.
It's their meetup. She's
Okay.
meeting him in person. Yes, he's going to fly her off. You can tell he's rich, and they're about to go off on this extravagant, amazing vacation. She shows up, and he's got his child and baby mama with them.
Allegedly.
Right? Like allegedly. But
Allegedly.
like he introduces her as like,
And she's telling him, the other girl, the new girl, about how great he is, and he's a great dad, and blah, 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 and whatever.
But like, if you ever showed up to a first date and the person's ex and child were there, isn't that like, I don't think I'm going to date you?
Yeah.
Red
No,
flag?
that's
Do you
kind of
look
a
past it
first
for the
sign.
extravagant vacations and the
I mean,
money?
there was like so many red flags because it was like the first time she was like meeting up with him. I mean, like, I don't want to be like cruel or anything because I felt really bad for that woman, Cecilia,
Right.
but it's like 9 creditors. You only met this guy like a month prior.
That's the
What?
reason that he is not in jail, is because these women took these cards out in their names and
Mhm.
took these loans out in their names. He essentially did nothing wrong. They gave him access to it. So,
Crazy.
moral of the story, don't give $30,000 to a dude you just met.
Right. You see, and that's why I don't
No matter
think,
how rich he is.
I don't think that I could watch it because I think it would just infuriate me because of
It
their
does.
sheer stupidity.
It does.
Well,
does.
you're just you spend the whole time feeling
Get him,
bad,
get him.
but then being like, why are you so dumb? Like, well, how are you not seeing this? Like, he's totally playing you. And
Did you watch Catfish at all?
No.
no,
Yeah.
It's a lot like that.
we've never watched anything like this. I was sitting there
Oh,
eating my
Catfish is
ham,
great.
my
Yes.
ham sandwich and cottage cheese on my own lunch break, and I'm like, I can't believe these chicks talked me into watching this thing. But then I couldn't stop watching it, and I'm like, because especially like they're gonna get him right, so they start figuring each other out and helping each other figure out how to get him.
And not one of them thinks to call the cops.
Of course not.
And the crazy thing is, so like the guy now is like, you guys have heard of like Cameo, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like he's on Cameo.
Yes.
Like he's legitimately on Cameo. Like this guy is like still trying to swindle people. And it's like one of those things where it's like you're angry at the women, which I've seen online people who are like, oh, if you're angry at the women, like blah, blah, blah. And it's like, as a woman, I sit there and go like, are you really that wrapped up in this like Cinderella fantasy that you like would fall for this? But then it's like, yeah, of course it's on him as well. Like he's disgusting because at some point he literally like texts a woman who's like, I can't get the money. He's like, well, pawn your car. Like
Sell your house.
Sell your house. Like
Yes.
doesn't care at all. Like whatever you gotta do to get me the money because I matter more.
No man is worth it, I promise.
No, not at all.
Nope. Not even The Rock.
It's so
Not even The Rock.
infuriating in the exact same way Catfish is infuriating. Like they're talking to this like 20-year-old whatever, and they're like, "Oh, we've been talking online for 10 years, but their webcam has never worked and we've never had a phone call." And I gave them $10,000.
Jesus.
And Katie's not even like being sarcastic or over exaggerating. That was like literally an episode once.
There was a guy who was convinced he was dating Katy Perry, and then when they took him overseas to meet the person he was actually talking to, he was like, "Nah, you're lying." And she would like rattle off the stuff that they talked about, like what they were going to name their kids and blah, blah, blah. And he's still like hardcore in denial. Like he's paddling upriver still.
But
Did you ever see the one where like the woman thought she was talking to Bow Wow and it was like just some other girl?
Yep. And then it was a whole thing because she wasn't into women and yeah.
Oh my gosh. This just makes me uncomfortable
It's the
because
exact same vein.
But like at the heart of it, these are like clearly like people who are looking for love and so desperate that they're not seeing that they're not doing it the right way. Like
You're so
like
desperate,
I'm like,
you're willing to be blind to all these red flags.
yeah. Oh, it makes me sad. I'm uncomfortable.
But you know what they say? Like a fool is quickly parted with their money. If you want to believe it, like you will.
Well, because one of the girls, the main girl who like who is like in $300,000 worth of debt, is still
that she has to pay off.
Yeah, she's still paying it off.
Is still on Tinder. She's still on Tinder meeting like random.
They asked her.
Like,
she's
people.
like, "Oh, immediately back on Tinder."
And you could tell at the end when they were talking to her about that it was like, I'm doing this show because I think that doing this show will get me.
Yeah, some sort
man.
of like
like it's gonna get me. I'm gonna get money to help pay off these cards, and I'm gonna find my man.
Well, I will tell you one thing with all that like debt. I just feel like it would be hard to find someone to be like, "Hey, let's like be together." By the way, I'm $300,000 in debt.
There's like medical debt. There's like credit card debt. There's like I bought a house debt. Then I gave $300,000 to a guy I met once. Debt.
Then you have Tinder debt.
Yeah, Tinder debt. Yeah. And the audacity of this guy who's like, you would think any normal human who's now been exposed on this level would disappear. And instead he's like, I'm on Cameo. That's right. I'll send a message to the woman in your dreams.
Internet safety 101. The first 5 minutes of it, she's like, "Oh, I'm going to meet up with this guy. Oh, he's going to drive me back to my house and I'm going to pack my bags and grab my passport.
Yeah,
we're going to go overseas." I'm
So-
like, human trafficking. Hello.
So I feel like
Andy knows where you live now.
And she gave her passports or anything. And the crazy thing to me is like when I was in high school, like MySpace was a thing. And I remember like our teachers having a legit conversation of like, hey, Don't put where you go to school on MySpace. Don't put where you are on MySpace. And now we're in this like world where it's like you can't be anywhere. You're like, hang on, I got to geotag where I am and stuff. And I'm like, no one had like the conversation in school that I had where it's like, don't post where you are.
I mean, internet safety is a huge thing now because if you want to be connected at all times, you almost have to forfeit that security.
Yeah,
like,
not cool with that.
Snapchat has a map where you can look and see where your friends are at any and all time, whether they're online or not.
Yeah, that's all disabled for me. I don't think I'm on Snapchat anymore. I was there for a little bit. I'm not interested.
But like Tinder, you have to have location services on, right? To find people near you.
Yeah, I think so.
And I mean, I think you can turn it off and you can talk to people however far away.
Have I ever told you that I have a recurring dream that I like am trying to figure out getting on Tinder? But like, you're always there with me, honey. Like, it's like, I don't know what, like.
Hey, you do you. I'm good.
Apparently, in my dreams, you encourage me to date other men. I don't know what that means.
I think that's working smarter, not harder.
That's not something we're going to delve into on this podcast.
It's like twofold. It's like the story of internet security, right? Like, don't tell a dude you just met, oh yeah, let's go back to my house, because then they know where you live and they're going to murder you, like worst case. Best case, they'll steal $300,000 from you because you gave it to them. But then at the same time, it's the rose-colored glasses. It's the, I'm willing to look past all of this because I don't know. Is he rich? Are we going to find love? Or is it going to be forever? Any number of reasons or excuses. I'm willing to look past all these red flags. Yeah. Who brings their baby mama on a first date?
There were so many red flags, and like immediately I saw this one meme where it was like, how in like a week or so when someone like texts you going, oh, my enemies are after us, we need to be strong. It's like, who is we?
I would have been like, who's y'all's enemies? I hope they get you.
Right.
Yeah. And he never said who the enemies were.
Look, dude, I don't have enemies.
Also, who talks like that?
I don't have that in my life. So if you do, we're probably not dating anymore. Like,
also, I have to admit, like, these women had to have had like the best credit ever, because if I tried calling my bank and said like I need a $30,000 loan, they would have laughed me off the phone.
Not even that. Like at one point she's calling the bank because he maxed out the card and they just upped the limit for her. They're like, oh yeah, we're on the phone. We'll just up it for you.
Yeah.
Who does that?
I will say that,
and like the one time that he sent her, which was essentially like a fake paycheck, right?
Yeah.
And she showed she's like, here you go, here's my proof of income. They're like, oh yeah, that check looks good, thanks for the picture, here's $30,000.
Like, are things different like overseas? Because most of these women were like Norwegian, Finnish, Dutch, like. It's like,
well, he said at the end that he had like women in Germany, women in the US. He had a Pennsylvania driver's license as they were like flipping through the images and stuff like that. He's all over the place.
I don't know. Enough about this scumbag.
How do you get a driver's license with no proof of residency? That's my question.
Simon Lviv.
All right. It's time for a gaming update with Gamer Katie. Boop, 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 boop.
Not as exciting as the Tinder swindler, unfortunately.
Nothing is.
I know, right? Really quickly, 2 games fresh out. The Assassin's Creed Ezio collection, which is the fan favorite Ezio. It's 3 games plus the DLC all piled into one. That was out on the 17th. Horizon Forbidden West came out yesterday at the time of recording, so the 18th. That is the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn. It's like a post-apocalyptic, kind of tribal, except you fight machines and stuff, so it's a little futuristic-y, little past. Same time.
My boyfriend loves that game. He's been waiting for the sequel.
Right? It's very cool. I like that. I like.
What is it? Like, what are we doing this game? Someday, Katie, you're going to tell me about a game, and I'm actually going to play it.
I know, right?
Someday.
When my enemies get me. It's like you run around and it's post-apocalyptic, so you're like surviving in the world, you're hunting, you're whatever, but at the same time you're like fighting these giant mechanical monsters that are just there because it's post-apocalyptic, so then they've like reverted to tribalism or whatever. Yeah.
It's like past the modern world.
Okay.
So it's like, it's not like it's the past, even though like everyone's in like a very tribal, like there's bow and arrows and nature is essentially reclaim things, but you see like broken down cars and like modern stuff from like our era, and like the main character will stumble across like text messages essentially from like our time. So it's like weird because you think like the future is going to be incredibly futuristic, but there's a cataclysmic event that prevents that. So it's like essentially humans have reverted back to how it was like in primitive times, only there's still like machinery walking around, but they don't understand. Like I saw at one point, Katie, when my boyfriend was playing, that like the main character picked something up and it was a pair of keys, but like the description was like ancient wind chimes. So it's like they don't even realize what these things are for. And it made me realize like how many things are we wrong about shit from the past? Like
probably everything. We don't know. When in doubt, it's a religious artifact, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
And then one more coming up later this week, Elden Ring comes out. So I can't tell if it's the spiritual predecessor or like an actual successor, I guess is the word, to the Souls and the Bloodborne series. But it's
well, you had me at
sorta,
spiritual, so tell me more.
So
is it anything close to Witch's Brew,
no.
the game that was out on the iPad in 2010?
No.
Okay.
It is more of the Dark Souls, the Bloodborne, the Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, kind of an RPG-esque. Gonna be a nightmare to play if it's anything like Dark Souls. You're gonna die a lot. It's gonna be a nightmare all the time.
Is Dark Souls the one that you hate?
Dark Souls is the one that's impossible to play.
Okay. And that's
Yes.
why you don't like it.
I hate it because I don't learn my lesson, and I do the same thing over and over again and brute force it, and I don't learn my lesson when I play games. So it's like impossible to beat that game.
Okay.
But it's from the guy that made Bloodborne, Hidetaka Miyazaki, and George R.R. Martin. They both worked together on this game.
Doesn't he have a book to finish?
Yeah.
Okay. Excuse me. We are waiting on a Game of Thrones book. Could you just
video
stop
game
with everything else?
I think
Video
George R.
game.
Martin will do anything he can to not write that Game of Thrones book.
100%. He is definitely like, what else can I work on? You know what? I'm going to be a chef today. I'm going to learn to be a professional chef.
Yeah.
The book can wait. You know.
I'm sorry. I just need to do some basket weaving. And then I'll get the book done, I promise. But this basket weaving thing is very important right now.
You know, quilting is very important.
It's so calming.
Yeah, right? Like, I got to be in the right mindset to write this book, you know.
I can't say that I blame him because at this point, the pressure to do something that will appease the fans.
Here's the thing. The longer you let this beast go, the worse it's going to be.
Oh, God, yeah.
So, like, if he'd have just written a book and been done with it, they would have been like, oh, yes, we accept this ending instead of the really terrible season 8 ending. Boom. Called it a day, being done, and like accepted it and moved on. But the longer you let it go, the more people have their own ideas and have their own thoughts about how this book should end and have their own ideas on who should end up on the Iron Throne and all that kind of stuff like that. That now you're not going to appease anyone except the small group that you just validated them and agreed with them.
Well, and he's been like hyping it up by saying like, "Oh, my ending's going to be different than the show's," and it's like, "Well, we wouldn't know. We haven't read it yet."
Well,
you know what he should do is just take the transcript of season 8 and just slap it in a book and just piss everybody off. Be like, you know what?
Nah, change
y'all
the
just
one
need to
last
leave me
line,
alone.
and they all died. The end.
Yeah,
You guys are not even going to believe this, but I Googled Marvel news to see if there was anything we needed to do in talking Marvel.
Oh, he's involved with something, right?
And the first headline that came up, yes, is
no.
George R.R. Martin's Wild Cards is coming to Marvel.
Oh my God.
He's
literally doing everything but writing a book.
You know what else I'm going to do that's not finishing that book you want? I'm going to write graphic novels for Marvel.
You know what? I mean, I'm going to start another series. Why not?
Have you ever seen like there's that meme? It's like, you know, you're a writer when you spend 99% of your time not writing, like ever. And it's like, yeah, that's George R.R. Martin right now.
Yeah. I can't judge him. I got over the hump and I got my book to 2 publishers who were like, this looks good. Put the pictures in it. Let's do it. And you know what? I haven't put any pictures in it. I'm at the point where I'm like, do you think of publishing this without the pictures? Can we do that? Because then maybe it'll get done. Because it's not going to get done if you want pictures from me. It's going to be another 2 years. But thanks for asking. So I support you, George R.R. Martin. I'm curious. I didn't know it's called Wild Cards. I've not heard of this. It is the limited series will be called The Drawing of Cards, with the first of 4 issues being released June 1st. Let's see. It explores an alternate reality where the people of Earth have been infected with an alien virus called the Wild Card. Some people draw the Black Queen, which means they die from the virus, but most become jokers, meaning that they end up mutated. The luckiest people are called aces and are gifted with superpowers.
We live in a society. Honestly, it sounds kind of lame.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
It just sounds like laziness, right? It's like,
Draw a
we'll
card
just-
from a virus. What's it do? Oh, pick a card before I infect you.
Right? Like, what if I just don't pick a card and I just sit over here without the virus?
I don't do magic. I don't trust magicians.
All right. Is there anything else we need to chat about that we missed out on this week? Patches? Anything you got going?
No,
My
we
enemies.
are good.
My enemy.
My enemies. Patches, you have a job to do. You need to learn about my enemies.
We
Okay.
need $30,000.
Send now. Peter is down. Peter's been hurt.
Yeah.
Listen, if you want to help the kind of nerdy girls, you'll send $30,000. Peter is down. My
Peter's
enemies are coming. Hopefully, you'll get
We can't
another
access our
episode.
bank account with millions of dollars in it.
And even though we are all the children of wealthy diamond billionaires, we cannot ask our dads for money.
Right?
So
I'm like,
Apparently not, right?
why did none of these girls say, have you checked with your dad before you came to me?
Isn't it like
he
when
seems
they
to have
close an
money.
account, they cut you a check for what's in it? They don't get to like forfeit the money.
no, that Katie, you just don't know how it works with the enemies.
You
Apparently
don't
not.
understand my enemies.
Apparently not.
Okay. All right.
I have all these enemies, but I can go to parties every night.
Yeah. Makes sense, obviously.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening. Tia, tell everybody where we can find you and the whole Geek Vibes Nation crew.
Yes. So geekvibesnation.com has links to all of our social medias. I just released my review for the first season of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel season 4, so you can check it out there. If you are not subscribed yet to our YouTube channel, Geek Vibes Podcast, please do so. We're having a lot of fun. I can't wait till the next Marvel show comes out so we can all reunite again for the MCR, because that was so much fun.
Is that going to be Moon Knight? Is that our next show?
Yeah, that's the next show is Moon Knight. So
that's going to be such a trip. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Super pumped.
Oh, Murphy.
Oh, hi Murphy. We just had a dog sighting, so we all got distracted.
No, I love how like he looked at the camera and then just like sprinted out.
Yeah, he does that. He's shy.
Murphy only does cameos. He has a contract that's very specific.
For his enemies. Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
Because I need $25,000.
Yes. So yeah, just make sure that you check me out there. If you feel like checking me out with my private, social TC_Stark for both Twitter and Instagram. I'm much more active on Twitter, but you can like go to my Instagram. Why not? I have like old pictures of like when I used to get my nails done and stuff. So
Please
there you
send
go.
cash.
Don't go to Instagram. That's where the enemies are.
That's where the enemies are.
No, don't go to Tinder. That's where the enemies are.
And Tia, at some point I thought it might be fun since you've got, the top 10 will be back at some point. If you
Tia's top 10 enemies.
Tia's top 10 enemies, yes.
Well, so I was gonna say like we're doing it on like a monthly basis. So we did just release for February the top 10 canceled shows that are still worth watching. So that's actually on our YouTube page right now. And last month for January was the top 10 projects to look forward to in 2022. So not sure what March's subject will be yet, but we're working on it.
Top 10 enemies.
Top 10 enemies.
Yeah. Top 10 Tinder swindlers.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Katie, where can people find you?
PayPal.
Yeah.
GoFundMe. Cash.
Can they find you in the Kind of Nerdy Network posting a game?
I mean, if you're like trying to hint me to talk about it, then yes, absolutely. Kind of Nerdy Network on Facebook. Sometimes I post there. I think I posted there like twice, but yeah, I'm there ish.
It's hard for Katie because she has so many enemies.
I have so many enemies that I need to avoid. Yes.
Aren't you gaming on the Twitch channel?
I was.
Oh.
I mean, I was. I'm not gonna
Patches,
lie. I was.
Patches, where can we find you? I'm gonna say follow Conquest Journals because you're popping up in all the reels.
Wrapped around Melody's little paw.
Yeah, wrapped around, little princess here. Yeah, you could just kind of keep an eye out for conquestjournals.com. All your licensed Harry Potter, Supernatural, and Rick and Morty friends. I mean, we got it all. So conquestjournals.com, and I don't even know what my Twitter is anymore. So I think it's at Patches McIrish or something. I don't know.
I don't know, but
really
when you went off about hating dinosaurs during the Super Bowl, and I was tweeting about it,
what?
You got a follower out of it because there was like one person who was like, "I also hate dinosaurs." Is he on Twitter?
You hate dinosaurs? That's a conversation for another day, Patches.
Yeah. Coming up on the next Kind of Nerdy Girls, it's a producer Patches rant for the ages. Why he hates dinosaurs. Stay tuned. The Kind of Nerdy Girls is produced by our wonderful patrons like Leanne, Kayla Allen, Michelle Hamilton, Samantha Miller, Clay Swain, Aaron Miller, and music is provided by Paul Miller. That's a lot of Millers. If you'd like to be a producer of our show, all you have to do is throw a few bucks our way on Patreon to help us keep the show going. Look for the Kinda Nerdy Girls on Patreon or go to kindanerdynetwork.com where you can also find our merch. I'm KJ. Thanks so much for listening. Stay kinda nerdy.